Alright, this is part 3 of me filming what I believe to be a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot in my neighbor's yard. Um, where my location um, is once again it's at my back entrance, a couple of feet off from my back entrance. We're going to look at some images about this dude. You can see his two eyes. He's kind of frowning here. And we're going to see, I think it's maybe 4 or 5 inch images that I took, not knowing that these things were in there. I was just taking pictures. I took my chances, right? You know, one of the interesting things was, although I don't believe for a moment, well, this could be a robin actually, but if it's a robin, it's an awfully big robin, and that also means that these branches are actually a lot further away from him, which then means you can't blame, yeah, we'll say it's a robin. You know, and the people talk about whistling and how these kind of manifest and all that. Well, I was whistling, but I wasn't whistling to them, I was whistling to robins, so it was about the same time these things started manifesting. It does look like it could be a bird right here, actually, and it'll be the red breast of the robin, and but this should be an interesting journey for you, if those who pay attention. I hope it will be an interesting journey for you. The first thing we're going to do, I'm going to share this one. This is a very interesting image that I found in the leaves and in the trees as I filmed. In my neighborhood, another one of these smaller entities. Is it a flying squirrel? Don't think so. Is it a baby flying squirrel? No, I don't think so. There's not a nest or anything there. There's just this thing, the big black eyes that people might call aliens and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you can see the eye clearly. Looks like there's the nose. And that is it a baby Bigfoot? Could be. Could be a million other entities. One thing that's interesting is, I mean, if you look above it, there's also this entity here, but you cannot deny the fact that there's something there with big black eyes. What it is, I can't tell you, except it is a spirit that you never can see with your naked eyes. Only once in a while is the veil pierced where you can see these things for whatever reason. Maybe it's to wake you up or something. You know, it makes me wonder about the fall. What the fall really was. We know it's man's fall from grace of God. We always say these phrases and verses out of the Bible and all that kind of stuff. The words out of the Bible, which I value very much. But I also understand, I'm understanding that we don't have a full understanding of a lot of what is being said, especially in the Old Testament. And the fall, would it be, you know, from with the creation that we were supposed to be walking in harmony with God, the Lord of all spirits and all the other spirits, or is it with these things? Is there a possibility that there's the what we understand? Well, first of all, there is it's absolute possibility, and it's absolute that we don't fully understand God's creation and what's going on around us. So, but something's happening there, and since we have now this technology, amazingly, that's able to take spirits, of image of spirits, and you can call it pareidolia all you want. And it basically is a form of dismissing, gaslighting people, and just like conspiracy theorists is another one of those things they create out of, right? But our whole world is nothing but conspiracies. That's always has been. It's always will be. And if you know, those of us who have seen things, have come to realize there's something, a parallel type universe, a spiritual universe that working, living, existing alongside us. Well, with the camera, this is what it was designed to do in the first place, to help us see these things. I find that image very interesting. Myself, that's why I shared it with you. With the next one before I get involved in. Oh, you remember this one? Don't forget these eyes. You know, if you see this, oh, it reminds me of a woman, a female Bigfoot, and just might be. So don't forget that one. I'll close some of this off, because we're not going to focus too much on that. But just remember the eyes, because the eyes are an important element of these spirits in order for us to see them. Yeah. Really. Let's see, what's the next one I want to show you? Is this where we start? Is it there? See, we got those. Already got those. We got that. I want to get an image of the distance. Where am I at? Because it's interesting. So, anyways, this is just to let you know, this is a pole to chimes that needs to be straightened out. But now that I'm glad it's not straightened out, because it's great division and it gives some kind of idea of perspective. Okay, so then you got the bushes in the backyard of our neighbors that go alongside. This is, you can't see the garage, but it is about 60-70 yards away where we're filming these, or I'm filming these entities. Is this the first one? You see, yep. So that's actually the other, my garage, which is that'd be the. It's not my garage, my landlord's garage. The north side of the property, but it would just be the northeast side of the property right here. So you go here, this will be now the northwest side of the property. And it was now there's a little bit of sun shining. And this is image one, and this is where I claimed that there's a Bigfoot. You know, it's interesting when you first how the layering of stuff. If you just from here, there's two eyes. You see that they do this all the time. I noticed this. They somehow do this. So there's a giant entity even before we even get to the entity. That's the subject, and the layering of the totem, and the layering and how they bend the leaves, and so the experts want to convince you that it's all pareidolia because they don't want you to know what's really going on, and we need to do something. One of the things we really need to do is put a kibosh on the phony, fake Bigfoot community, which is everywhere. See, there's another one there. There's some eyes. You can see the eyes and how they're coming. Yeah, you see that? So there's a lot going on in this picture. And this is what the first image that I took. And the series of these 4 or 5 images are within seconds of each other. So the first thing is a lot of people automatically assume that these 2 dots have something to do with a clearing within the leaves, and it does not have anything to do with that. In fact, there's a high probability that that's what people would call eye shine, which is actually somehow how these eyes illuminate, which means it's an internal thing that they're producing, and not necessarily, well, it could be an internal thing and not necessarily an external thing. But looking at this so far, if this image has been magnified it, you're going to see some crazy images today, I'll tell you that much. You can see the 2 eyes here and the cone head and all that. There's something going on here. And here's the first image of what maybe it's not even a Sasquatch. Maybe it's a tree man or something like that. Something that's just a giant that manifests out of the trees, and we just falsely call it Bigfoot. Here's a couple of things you want to pay attention to: the eyes of the that womanish thing. There's the two eyes of it. Okay, and it's the totem pole. Things are going to change drastically in this image in the course of a minute or two, which means the spirit realm is moving around. Interesting about this entity, if you see the two eyes, the nose, then the mouth, the chin, the head, and all that, and it has nothing to do with the leaves and all that, per se. I mean, in other words, it does have something to do with the leaves, but it's not the leaves themselves. There's actually entity there manifesting. Right now, it seems to like curious, at peace, no big deal that Mike Adams is there with his camera. You can see the totem going up. The eyes change. There's those two eyes. And it was looking away. There's a couple entities here and that. And yeah, it's all blurry. So, sorry, they're spirits. You want something that cannot ever be. So the next one is this one, and it was taken within seconds of the last one. And let's see what happens now. This changes. Anything else change? Some things change. The eye shine is gone, but you can start to see this entity, what it is. The two eyes and the mouth. They call it eye shine, but I think there's something else going on. I don't think it's eye shine. I think it's eye luminescence, like a flashlight. It emits its own light somehow. But the happy, not so bothered Bigfoot's head's moved. And you can see how things are different here, right? Whether you can determine which one's the eyes and all that. I don't think I am confused about that one. So, as far as the eyes on top of the totem, which is the it has changed. It's almost like it's not there anymore, or maybe they closed its eyes. I can't see it. Maybe if you can see it, I can't. The rock stars are still there. And next. Image 3, that was taken a few seconds later. In the same spot. This is giving some idea of the distance. So this is just a couple feet away from my camera. So this is the marker from my camera to there. And those bushes are clearly 30 yards away, at least 30 yards away from where I'm sitting. And this picture, you can notice that there are certain eyes and imagery and that kind of thing going on. Something's going on. Let's see. Is there more eye shine again? It does seem like that thing right here. Now, a lot of these things you'll see, these are like, are these just insects, birds, spirits? High first probability is they're insects. But this right here is moved. The shine or refraction has moved, but you still see the two. There's something going on here, and then there's something on top of it. You can see Bigfoot, his buddies. He's got another one right there manifesting. Let's see what Bigfoot is doing right now here. It's getting blurry. You start to see the nose, mouth, and the dark recess of the eyes. And you can see it's all parallel. We'll see what happened with the eyes. Well, the eyes are starting to show up again here. This girly looking thing. Yeah. Rockstar's still there. Changing a little bit. Looking pretty wild. So this is it. So there's so it's not so focused. This is where this is. This a bird? It looks different than the next image, that's for sure. Is it? If it's a bird, based on those branches, it had to be basically the tree here. These are branches are actually of a tree that's in front of this porch. I don't know if we can see it, but it's there. It is right here, right? So these things are packed in behind this house in the chateaus. What's also interesting about these tree branches, a lot of these got these swooping tree branches, like something's been using it for something to sit on. Strange things going on in this tree, eyes popping out and everything like that, but we're not focusing on that right now. So the next one is this. And some from the same distance, a couple of seconds later. Of course, I've moved because a human being, how you move. I actually, the movement though, I have it on a tripod, so I'm not jumping up and down. So that's one good thing. So it's very stable. So nobody can say there's about, you know, going back and forth, and it's something to do with the shaking of my hands because it's on a tripod. All these images are on a tripod. And so the next one is this. And this one I like a lot. I even like more than the one I shared with you guys in some ways, because now we start to see the dark recesses of its eyes, his nose, and there's his mouth, there's his chin. What's going on here? There's the totem. What's going on here? Ah, you can now see her eyes a lot better and her head forming. Huh? Oh yeah, this is the one. This is the one I've been showing you guys, because this has got the you can see the irises, and you can actually see the grimace. You can actually almost see some the lips, the chin. This is a very good one. Well, I think it is. People are not gonna like it because it doesn't. It's not black enough, and it's not hairy. It doesn't look like one of the things that Patty filmed. Really, well, tough shit. That's what I filmed. It's not about making you happy. I'm showing what's going on. This is, anyways, I honestly believe that God only gives only a select few, even the slightest glimpse of in the eyes to see what's really going on. For the most of you, you're not worth it. So you really are not. I know it sounds like I'm being a jerk, but when you think about how rude, crude, nasty, mean, evil you are, why would God, who's the spirit of all things, and you're supposed to be a child of the light, and you refuse to be it, why does he want anything to do with you? There's nothing special about you. So then here's the next one, and this is, the face has changed. Notice the face has changed. We'll see what's going on with the totem. Where's her face? Where's the lady? Oh, there it is. So her eyes have changed a little bit. She's now like more looking at me. If you notice, the eyes are. As far as his head and what's going on, you can still see the deep recess and even an iris. If you look closely, that shouldn't be there. And nose and mouth. It's I know it's hard to see. You have to really pay attention and look. This thing hasn't moved, and I just have a hard time believing that's actually really a robin, but because over the course of seconds and minutes, and it's just sitting there on that branch, and yeah. But it could be. Anyways, if it was, it would be actually nice if it was a robin, because it would give us more of a perspective of how far back it is, how large it possibly could be. But the eyes are there if you want to look. I mean, I could really work on this and bring it out, but I'm probably not going to do that. But they hide in the shadows, and I can't help that. That's what they're doing. That's where they're at. So the next one, and this one is really good one, I think. This one I thought was really good. Why? Because in particular, well, there's a lot going on in this picture. God, there's a lot of pictures things if you have the eyes to see. Oh, this spirits manifest and everything else. Anyways, there's the eyes and all that. You can see it shifted a little bit. Now it's looking back away to the northeast. And then there's this dude. There he is. Somehow he's got like a dude's head on top of him, but you still see the dark recess of his eyes, his mouth. And I really do think a lot of these things that it is a totem. It is an amalgamation. It is a bunch of spirits that hook up together to make things look maybe the way they want them to look like. But I think this is a good one because you can almost see the eyes, the recess out of the eyes. Or so the closer I magnify into the more it gets just a bit pixelated, so I can do so much. But you can see how towering it is over the neighborhood. The neighborhood would never see it; wouldn't even recognize it. I'm going to give you an example of how it works too. And so then there's the next one. So and it's a different. It's just a different perspective and a different position. And it's not my garage. It's still part of his house. So anyways, so that's that. For whatever it's worth. I mean, it's not worth anything to you. It's nothing. It means a lot to me. Let's see. Where's the next one go? Oh, yeah, what I want to do is look at, it might not be, oh, it might, is it? Okay, it's in here. This will blow your mind away, I think, if you're paying attention. This, yeah, let's go first with this one. This is some kind of spirit. I don't know. I think other people see, I'm pretty sure people have seen this before. Someone has seen it. And it's got these two dark eyes, the nose and the mouth, and then it's got like all these like leafy, like I don't know. Is it, well, if those of you are really research this, if you ever hear this, can you tell me what this entity is? You'll have eyes to see it, and the rest of the world won't. But there's something that's right there. Here's a better. It's there. It's kind of like, it's got like, you see the leg? And it's got like wings, the wings, but they're, it's like some type of amphibian, or not amphibian, some kind of mammal type thing, but I don't know what it is. It is associated with the little baby thing that I showed earlier. Let's see if I still have that up, or did I take it down? You take that. Does it, that has something to do with this entity in some way? They both have dark eyes, because most of them seem to have the deep, dark eyes. What is that thing? Does anybody know what that thing is? Because I sure the hell don't know. It always reveal to me what it is. This one I am going to share with you. See, which one should I? This is the most bizarre of images that are filmed up there in the trees. And you see these two black things? And you see there's like a nose and a mouth and a like old lady's face, or maybe an old Bigfoot's face or something. Well, when we get done looking at this, you're going to discover those are actually hands, dark black hands, covering the eyes of this entity, this bigger entity. And it's the dark black hands that look like something like a chimpanzee. Now we're going to get into a little more about the tree monkeys or tree chimps or tree apes, whatever the hell. Some examples. You're going to be blown away if you stick around, because I filmed one that half its head pops up behind this frickin' metal pole where the chimes are. I think it's made of copper or whatever it is. But And it looks clearly like a monkey's head. It's a half of one at least. So, yeah, I'm going to take a little break. Probably we should cover once again what we did before we take that break, and the main focus of what was going on. So it's about this dude and this image, and that I feel strongly that we are dealing with what actually is a real Sasquatch that is not, it is not manifested in its temporal form, and people will think you're full of shit, but then again, they don't know what they're talking about. What else would they do? If you don't know what's going on, what else do you do? The sad thing is the spiritual realm and what's inside the spirits inside these people that manifests clearly. They become belligerent and insulting, but they can't do anything else than that. They can scream pareidolia, blur, and call you names. That's it, because they don't know what they're looking at. I can't take it personal. So this is the image. The last image that I took of this entity, and there's the dark eyes, and it's changed his mouth. It's got like a head on top of a head on top of a head. There's this part of the totem with the big eyes head that looks like something like a female or something like that. The next one is this. Just before that, we're going now backwards. We can see the eyes of the entity on the top. We can see this Bigfoot type thing. Actually, and he's not alone. There's stuff in this all over the place. But you can just see there's a change in the eyes, change in everything. There's a change in appearance. The next one, is this the good one? The one that was a real giveaway? Yeah, this was the good one. This is where a lot of things really showed up for that moment. That second, we were blessed with the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the chin. You can see clearly that is the beard and all that. Or we're dealing with quote unquote Bigfoot, the Sasquatch. What's happening to the eyes? And there's the eyes, remember? And the other entities manifesting in here. The one that's really important to focus on, in my opinion, right now is this. Then we're going to get in, after we get this, to go through this once again, we're then going to get into part 2 of this, which I think is really cool, is that there's these black-like monkey entities that actually cover these bigger entities' faces. Their eyes in particular. Why, I don't know. Also, these monkey-like entities, these chimp-like entities, they like wrap their arms around the trunk of the tree. So you can see there's the morphing, the changing of it. It's not... The appearance is going in and out. I feel very fortunate that we got that one image. And most people, it's just barely, but to those who have eyes to see, they'll know that it was pretty special. This one is no morphing and it's changing. It's not so detailed. And then the next best, this is the next best picture. We'll see if this is it. Oh yeah, this next best picture, because then you actually can see once again the eyes again. Then there's a bit of the mouth in there, but you can see the eyes, and it's not really smiling. It's just kind of just there. I don't know if it's worried in the process taking those 4 or 6 images that it's like, oh, I've been caught, or it's pissed off that I'm there and I'm taking pictures. And because I'm sure they're communicating, they know that I know. All of them know that I know. And there ain't a damn thing I can do about it now. And there ain't a damn thing they can do about it now. Although they will try to make some kind of attempt, which is stupid. I don't know why they do what they do. But anyways, my book, I think it's stupid when they do their spiritual attack on you. Just like, why are they doing this? It's like it's almost like it's a manifestation of what's in their hearts. And I think a lot of them, if they really had a chance, not all of them, but a lot of them, if they had a chance, they'd kill you. They would definitely kill you. So anyway, so that's that one. And then of course, the one that I keep sharing to you guys because I think it's a real awesome, blessed picture. And that's the real, you know, him. You can hear that. So this one, you know, pause the damn video so you can see things. Don't just, I can't see it. Just pause until you get a chance to see it. You know what I mean? There's that one. And that one. So it's a change of countenance and appearance. Now the question is, and there's some eyesight going on here. Maybe some other things going on here. Why are those things flying around? Are they just simply insects? They're not birds. They could be insects. I know as time goes on later on in the year, it'll be more easy to film insects. They'll be there. There's this right here. I find this nice one because there's eye shine here, as they like to call, or eye luminescence, which is probably what it really is. And is it really shining on anybody else and directing on anybody else? I think they just open up for whatever reason. The communication between each other, a form of expression. I don't know. We don't know. But then, of course, this one right here, which I really like, because you can actually see the eyebrows, and it's man, the spirits just stack up on each other, and it's really hard to pierce through when you do get a good image of any of this stuff, especially that, and you count on people to attack it, right? Until you really seriously look at it, they count on it because they want it to be what they've been brainwashed to believe it to be. It took a lot. It's taken years for me to get to the point to say, okay, we're dealing with spirits. 100%, that's all we're dealing with spirits. Sometimes they manifest in the material form, but most of the time they're just spirits. And people don't like it because you've been brainwashed to think there's no such thing. Which, by the way, we are like the first or second, third generation of people ever in the history of mankind that believe such nonsense. And we think that we're smarter than people because of our Satan's altar, the television. That even Anton LaVey would not have his own children watch. But you could watch from this next section, this next half an hour. There's going to be some pretty interesting revelations about how they trick us, to say the least. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, just once again, what the entity that I want you to actually focus on is this one right here. It's two eyes, the nose and the mouth, the chin, the head. There's a lot of entities in here, and there's a lot of confusion, so most people will not be able to see it. They just don't have the eyes to see it, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's probably not. It's probably just is a thing. So the next thing is this one, and we'll look at this one. Now, this is fascinating. Once again, you look at this. There's a head in the middle of this, right? Can you see that? Or do you see that that's dark right here and dark right here? There's the pinkish nose, pushed in nose. There's the mouth. There's the chin. And there's a lot of other entities in there, but I want you to really pay attention to the black. First of all, this right here, this is actually a hand. There's fingers. There's 1, 2, 3 fingers at least. There's the hand. There's the arm. There's another arm. And the other side, there's another hand. And there's a monkey head there. I can't help it. That's the way it is. Let's see. Is that a more of the original, closer to the original image? You can see the fingers. And the fingers. Something black. It decided to put its hands around this entity's eyes. This is the original image. Not unaltered. 1, 2, 3. Changing a little bit of the color. And you have to bring out the hands. There's the arms. There's the hands. There seems to be a head right here. Of course, there's a head right here popping out. There's entities up. This is all part of this totem. Or the way above the actual, what I call the Sasquatch Bigfoot. They're trying to bring out the hands more. Can I see what happens if I... So there's the hands. There seems to be like a monkey type head right here. There's a couple eyes right here. There's a couple eyes right here. There's a bunch of entities right here. Does that help that in any way? Can you see the hand, the arms, the wrists, the hands, the fingers? And there's actually fingers here. Something's decided to put its hands over this entity. It's like monkeyish old lady, wrinkly type face, gorilla type face. There's another example of it. There's something right here too. Here. There's like the nose, the whitish around the mouth, and that. And is it some type of ethereal monkey thing? I have no idea what it is, man. Looks like a monkey. Once again, the hands. Stay focused on the fingers, arms. I don't know if I'll be able to find the images. I didn't have this. I'll have to go back later and find the example of, if I even have the energy to do it, of these same hands and arms being wrapped around trunks of trees. But I do that so you start looking for that anomaly. So that's the original image. Changing the lighting, contrast. I'm not really altering it too much, just so they can just bring out what you can see. Hands. If I have enough energy, I'll go and look and see. I don't, because I don't want to keep focusing so much on this stuff. There's heads popping out in this. You can see an example how they're ethereal beings. The head, but you would have a hard time seeing them. An example of these things, a different angle of that area, the post. The thing I want you to focus on here is, notice there's nothing right here right now specifically to look at, but at the next one, here's another one of the examples. There's something, but there's actually something here, and there's something right here. It's a half head of what is a better example of that Bigfoot. How do we go about this? You know, this is all new to, it's new to me. Even though I've been doing it I did it for a couple of years, but now that I'm back a few years later, I'm not. It's just now the revelations start coming to me again. Okay, in this image, if you pay clear enough attention, on the left side of this pole, there's a head. There's the head. There's where the hairline is. There's a crown. There's an eye, an eyelid, a nose. As you go through, there, you can see that it's black. It has like white around the nose, like a lower like mustache. And over here is a better image of that Bigfoot that I filmed of the other side of what it more life would look like, with the dark eyes, the white face, So way down. There's also white, pinkish heads up here. But what I want you is to focus. And there's also an entity right here. There's somebody might call it dog man, but this is what I want you to, because there's a big question as to where that head is. And I could tweak this if I want to, and maybe I should find the right one to tweak. But this is that one. There's the monkey one. There's the Bigfoot one on that side. There's like heads in here, but there's like these pinkish. There's like a head right there. And I'm wondering if that head is actually manifesting on the side of the pole. Now, I've seen an awful lot of heads, and I've seen a lot of Bigfoot, and I've seen that these things, when I have seen them personally, when they pop out of the ground or out of a tree, literally. And I'm not the only one. I just listened to this dude, Facts How to Hunt, and his latest one, I think it's in this last three, someone actually says the same damn thing. So I'm not alone in the matter. They said they've seen heads pop out of the trees as well. Michael Adams is not alone in this. Now the question is, if I'm seeing these and filming these things, I'm not alone. Why is the Bigfoot community just ignoring it completely, pretending that they're applying the scientific method when that's not how you apply the scientific method, folks? You take all things into account. So I'll change the lighting of this a little bit to help you see better. There's the head again. You see, this the black of it. It goes black all around here. There's the nose. There's the eye, the eyebrow, eyelid, the eyebrow. And on the other side is one of those Gene Simmons looking. Well, I think it's Bigfoot. That's what we call Bigfoot. Right here. There's his eye, his nose, his mouth, his chin, and all that. And it's kind of an interesting image. There's also an entity right here that some people might even call a dogman, but anyways, there's just a chance to see the difference between the two entities. There's a group of them that are black that are like freaking chimpanzees, monkey-like things, and then there's these Bigfoot things, these Sasquatch things that look an awful lot like Gene Simmons, a Kiss. And he said, well, I don't believe in that. And I'm like, hey man, I don't care. This is what I'm filming. This is what's there. If you don't like it, go lump it. That's what I see it. Or open up your eyes. Go do it yourself. Go do your own research. You can find out that you don't have to go very far. And in fact, I'm totally convinced that if you don't even have woods, you could live in an asphalt concrete jungle and you film these things. You just have to start focusing on the shadows on the concrete and the asphalt. Or if there's even small trees, just looking at it. Or a small park. And you just start focusing on the trees. And if you start talking to the Lord of all spirits, for one thing, or God, and speak out loud about God, these things will manifest. You don't have the option in that. That's going to manifest. And once they know that you know, the game's on, and it's all up to you what you want to do. For a run, and have you put your head in the sand and say, oh my God, there's, or you can say, yeah, this is the way it is, and there ain't nothing's going to change. Not a damn thing's going to change, and except, am I going to follow the herd? Am I going to follow, or am I going to follow the way the truth is? Am I going to follow the group and what they say is the truth, or am I going to go try and find out myself? Am I going to follow Michael Adams? Or am I going to follow the truth? Here's one. I can see one right now. I'm talking about this example of how they wrap their arms around these trees. I want you to notice the black right there. That's actually an arm and a hand. There's some heads and all that too, and all that kind of stuff. Is it backwards, or are these its knees? I don't know. You tell me. But I'm going to focus in a little more. It's going to get very blurry, but I just want you to notice there actually is an arm wrapped around this. Is this the actual body of the entity right here? It gets blurry, so you know what I mean? I don't know, but there's one thing that's definite that I'm confident in. Is there's an entity that decided to wrap his arm around that tree. Just like the same black hands and arms and wrists, it decided to put its hands over this entity's face. Eyes, excuse me. As you can see right here, once again, do you see the hands, the wrists? So, why do they do what they do? I don't know. That's a pretty honest answer, don't you think? Well, there actually is something right here, and you can see the shape of it and everything. And I don't know if it's two, if it's the whole damn thing. Is it just, have we even seen the head and just the leg? And I don't even know if this is even part of it, but there's the arm and there's the leg type of thing. And if you pay attention in the forest, you're paying attention to filming the trees, because that's where you start looking up. You stop looking for just footprints. You know what they'll do? And there's a little trick they do on everybody. They know that because they know what you're doing. They know better what you're doing than you know what you're doing. They know what's going inside your head. That's how they have this mind speak, which is really spirit speak. They're speaking. There's a spirit talking to your spirit. We talk about things like tree knocks and all that, because the tree is the knock inside the tree. Is an entity popping out of the tree? Is the entity going into a tree? Is the entity just trying to warn others? You know, honestly, it's all the usual answers that have been proposed to us have to be always constantly challenged, and even my own, to come to the truth. But one thing, after 55 years, we're no more further ahead than we were 55 years ago. Except more and more people are coming out and saying they have the experiences or they believe in this stuff. Which, by the way, I think that's retarded. You shouldn't live your life simply in belief. You should bring that to a further flourishing, to understanding and knowledge. All right? The reason why I quote-unquote believe in God is because of the totality of my life experience and what is things I've seen and witnessed. Now, what they want us is to simply say, well, that's what you believe. Why are you going to prove it? I'm not supposed to prove it. You're supposed to go find out it and prove it to yourself. Most of I got to do that. I'm too busy, jerking off and played my video games and hard, death metal and all this other stuff. Which, by the way, when it talks about music, you guys act like you're like super rebellious. You're not. Or you're rebelling your system. You've fallen into another snare and trap and cult. Now, when the last band I was in, you know what we did? It was very conscious. And it said, it's always going to be about the music. It could be a country song, it could be a folk song, it could be a death metal song, it could be, but it's going to be 100% us, and it's not going to sound anything like anybody else. It's going to come straight from our soul. And we had sounds that were bizarre. One moment we sound like a jam band. Next moment we sound like it's like. In fact, we were described. What were described? The Grateful Dead on acid. Was that it? No. Primus on acid is what they described us. It was a local music critics did. Never went anywhere. We're never ever going to go anywhere. You know why? Because we were true to ourselves and to music, and we weren't trying to fit a mold or try to be something that other people say has to be. And so, yeah, Primus on acid, that sounds pretty damn cool to me. You know, the thing is, you guys are not being even legit to yourselves. Well, I want to be in the band. Okay, that's what you wanted. You wanted simply to be in the band. You get in the band, and you know what? Because nobody. Oh, we need to play and have jams and play out to people. Why? Why do you need to do anything? Why can't you just do what is? Why can't you find 3 or 4 guys? Usually 3 is actually better than 4. Unless it's the right combination of things. But why can't you be just who you are at that moment? You're not always death metal, and you're not always hard rock or whatever, or country or whatever. Just what comes out. I mean, it's so liberating. I mean, when I was in that band, it was honestly, I had spiritual moments in that because we're honest. And it wasn't just because we're high or drinking or a fifth of Jack Daniels back then. I don't drink and I don't do any of that stuff. I haven't had drinking going on 18 years. I mean, I haven't got drunk. I haven't had a couple of drinks in here or there to try it and see if I ever was really an alcoholic. And I decided, you know what? I think they brainwashed me on that as well. I used to be Mr. AA, hardcore, started meetings that still exist today. Really. And I walked away with it after 5 years and 6 years, doing the steps all the way through myself 6 times, realizing that I was one of few, even people that have been there for 40, 50 years, who actually even got past step 4. And I'm starting to think, it was being forced to say the same thing over and over again. I'm an alcoholic. I'm an alcoholic. And I'm like, wait a minute. No, I'm not. I was drunk at one time. I had a lot of issues, a lot of anger. I worked through it. AA helped me with that until I broke away from that and realized it was a cult, just like being a Roman Catholic, a Satanist, a Mormon, etc., etc. Did you ever think that maybe you're not any of all these man-made constructs, that you are just who you are? You're a creation of God. I don't want to do that. That's not cool. And if I do that, go down that route, no one's going to like me and lose all my friends. I know exactly what's going to happen. You follow the truth, you are going to lose all your so-called friends. How much do you care about the truth? Most of you don't. You just say you do. You just want to be loved by people that really could never love you if their life depended upon it. So anyways, I want you to think about when you start seeing stuff like that, and when you start seeing dark, like recessed eyes, I look closely and make sure they're not hands, fingers that are, you see how they're closed in together to kind of create like a triangle type thing? And wrists, and you just might be seeing something else completely different than you actually thought you were seeing. Well, I think that's pretty darn amazing. I think that's a really cool, a real cool discovery. And if other people know about it, I want to know why you're not allowed to talk about it. Why do you have to, when the Bigfoot community, you can only talk the scripted, over and over again, dead end, Hegelian dialectic conversation, steered narrative. It's either a flesh and blood animal and it's a humanoid or something from the distant past, or it's a woof. Well, how about you don't have jack shit what's going on? And that's a good place to start. And stay there until you actually know what's going on. Okay? That's the that's the basis of the scientific method. It's a lot of trial and error. Constantly correcting what one believes and sees. And moving on. And apparently in the Bigfoot community, you're not allowed to do any of that. And if you do that, it seems like there's a lot of hired guns or just a lot of dumb. They're really dumb. You're just dumb, man. That's what you are. You're dumb. You're allowing yourself to be put in a situation where you're sending mindless memes and one-liners and to insult everybody. Anybody that challenges your point of view, your worldview, which is not even yours. You realize you hijacked it. Somebody gave it to you. They knew that you were not going to even try to think for yourself of what's going on. Everyone knows you're not going to go out. The vast majority, you're not going to bother to go out there and find out what's really going on. What you want is to belong. You have a desperate need to belong to the group, and therefore, you will compromise the truth day after day after day. And when anybody points that out, you will get super offended and throw ad hominem attacks. Blah, blah, blah. And it's the same thing over and over again. You know, and it's the reason why one of the reasons I walked out of the Bigfoot community back in 2019 is completely, and actually I started withdrawing it really with the first year that I was doing the research, and I realized how disingenuine everyone was. I was telling about all the stories, the alleged stories, and the alleged traditions, and the alleged mythologies. And I'm like, wait a minute. I thought we were trying to be like really trying to find the truth. That's only a small part of it. You understand that, but we still stay stuck in that small part of it. Of what's going on, we've called Bigfoot and dogmen and all. It's very small part of it. The legends of the past. And people like stories because they don't really want to think. Please do not make me think. Whatever you do, just entertain my sorry soul. I'm busy. I have to go to dumb work every day and then come home and I relax and I just want to hear a dumb story. Well, stay dumb. And stay in that dumb job, and stay in stuck in your empty, shallow paradigm of foolishness, in which other men for thousands of years, and people who were clever enough to manipulate the rest of you, and they've been around for a long time, and yes, they're in the Bigfoot community, and the dogman community, and the cryptid community. The only way you're going to find out the truth is on your own. Not in some little paranormal group where you have all your gadgets and all that. You're going to have to go find out your own. You're going to have to walk this path alone. Then you come back and share your information. And understand that you're going to be offended. You know what's interesting about this image too? It's not only is there a hand here, but if you pay real attention to it, it actually is, there's a smaller hands over here. But you have to really look and you have to be able to see, and it's tough. It's not easy to see what's there because we don't train our eyes. I mean, how many of us honestly are disciplined enough? Now, I'm saying dead serious. Start with 30 seconds, then a minute, then 5 minutes staring into the canopy of the trees. And I guarantee you, 1 out of 1,000 of you that claim to be Bigfoot researchers even done that. You've turned it into a cult. You've turned it into, you commercialize another damn thing. How can I make money and be Mr. Big Shot in this thing instead of being honest about what's going on? Do you realize how much effort it takes to be honest about anything? In this world, it takes a lot of energy. Anyways, I hope you gained something from this. Yeah, some people call me crazy. I don't give a crap. They can call me whatever you want because you're not my friend today. You weren't my friend yesterday, and odds are you're not going to be my friend tomorrow. I am sharing this expression to the Lord of all spirits and to the world that I'm not ashamed of what you revealed to me, and I'm hoping that somebody else who's in a similar situation it finds freedom in not being afraid of what other people say about him. It says, to hell with it. I'm going to share the truth. And I'm going to tell you, when you start doing the truth, you start baking the truth. You're not just your truth, but the truth. What you experience of what it has been, more truth will be revealed to you. See, as long as you hold it back, put it in a box, pretend it's not there, be full of denial, follow the group, you will be stuck in the group. You might, get a few things here and there that make yourself feel like you're Mr. Big Shot, but this is not going to take you anywhere. You're going to stay stuck. You're going to get more bitter, more confused, and more delusional. Hands. Start looking for hands in the canopies, in the forests. It's really interesting when you look at this image. Is it this little guy's hands or is it this big guy's hands? Almost this big guy hands manifesting, and these are his hands on her, over her eyes. Think about what I'm saying. Don't just be like another dumb, thoughtless, give me my latest dopamine fix. Think about what I'm saying. What's going on here? It's more than pareidolia, folks. There's a mystery, an amazing mystery going on in the canopy of the trees and all around us. I don't think we're supposed to worship these things. But you know what? Why can't we approach it like everyone else says they're doing, with a scientific method? It's not a religion, folks. It's far from a religion. I mean, it's bizarre. I mean, when you look at this, that's definitely a hand. What's going on here? Is it this hand going here? The more you look at this, and that's another thing, when I say this is what I see, there's a good chance I'm wrong. But let's look at this entity right here. There's somebody's big hand right here, okay? That's for sure, and somebody's arm. But then there's something going on here. Is it hands covering this, and is this entity's hands, or is it something else? There's definitely hands in this. There's one definite, undeniable hand right here. This stuff, is it two hands, or is it the same one hand covering the eyes? That's something, is it the least interference in order to cut it off? Which mostly, that's what I think it is. It's a hand that's closer to us. But I could be wrong, but there's something there, undeniably there.